Have you ever wondered why two Ford F-150s that look almost identical can have completely different ownership experiences? One owner drives the same truck for over 250,000 miles with little more than oil changes, brake pads, and routine maintenance. Another ends up spending thousands on transmission repairs, timing system failures, or engine work before the truck even reaches 100,000 miles. So what's the difference? It isn't luck. It isn't how the truck was driven. And surprisingly, it isn't even the badge on the grille. The truth is, some Ford F-150 model years have earned excellent reputations for reliability, while others have become known for problems that can quickly turn a great deal into a very expensive mistake. If you're shopping for a used F-150, knowing which years to avoid could save you thousands of dollars, and just as importantly, help you avoid months of frustration. Today, we're breaking down the Ford F-150 years you should think twice about buying, what actually went wrong with them, whether they're still worth considering if they've been repaired, and which model years are much safer alternatives. If you enjoy honest automotive reviews backed by real owner experiences instead of marketing hype, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because we post new videos every single week. Now let's get into it. Before we start naming specific model years, there's one thing you need to understand. No truck is perfect. Not Ford. Not Chevrolet, not Ram, not even Toyota. Every manufacturer has produced vehicles that turned out to be incredibly reliable, and others that left owners wishing they'd bought something else. The biggest mistake people make is assuming every truck with the same nameplate offers the same ownership experience. That's simply not true. Every few years, manufacturers introduce new engines, transmissions, electronics, and platforms. While these updates often improve performance and fuel economy, they can also introduce unexpected problems that don't become obvious until thousands of trucks are already on the road. That's why first-year redesigns often deserve extra scrutiny. They're essentially real-world testing on a massive scale. Some turn out brilliantly. Others need a few years before all the bugs are worked out. And nowhere is that more obvious than with the first truck on today's list. 2004 to 2008 Ford F-150. If you've spent any time researching used F-150s, you've probably already heard about the infamous 5.4-liter Triton V8. For years, it was one of Ford's most popular truck engines. It powered millions of F-Series pickups, and plenty of them are still on the road today. But popularity doesn't always equal reliability. Ignore it for too long, and what begins as an annoying sound can eventually turn into a repair bill worth several $1,000s. Then there was the spark plug problem. Certain model years became notorious because the factory spark plugs could seize inside the cylinder heads. Trying to remove them during routine maintenance sometimes resulted in the plugs breaking apart, leaving part of the plug stuck inside the engine. What should have been a straightforward tune-up suddenly became a complicated repair requiring special extraction tools, and sometimes even cylinder head removal in severe cases. That alone caused many owners to dread what should have been ordinary maintenance. Another common complaint involved ignition coils. As these trucks aged, failing coil packs often caused rough running, misfires, reduced fuel economy, and the dreaded check engine light. Fortunately, coil replacements aren't especially expensive, but they became another item on a growing list of issues owners had to keep an eye on. Does all this mean every 2004 through 2008 F-150 is a bad truck? Not necessarily. In fact, plenty are still running today with well over 200,000 miles. The key difference is maintenance. Many of the trucks still going strong today belong to owners who stayed ahead of problems instead of waiting for something to fail completely. If timing components were replaced with updated parts, spark plug service was handled correctly, and maintenance was performed consistently, these trucks can still provide dependable transportation. But buying one without detailed service records is a gamble. If you find one with unusually low mileage and no documentation, don't assume you've found a bargain. Sometimes a truck with 180,000 miles and a folder full of maintenance receipts is actually the safer purchase. That's a lesson many experienced truck buyers learn the hard way. The good news is that Ford eventually moved on from the aging Triton family, introducing newer powertrains that delivered more power, better fuel economy, and improved towing capability. The 2010 model also saw occasional complaints involving fuel system components, throttle body issues, and electrical gremlins that became more common as these trucks aged. Again, none of these automatically make the truck unreliable. Many owners have enjoyed years of dependable service from properly maintained examples. But when you're comparing dozens of used F-150s on the market, there's simply little reason to choose a model year carrying older engine concerns when newer alternatives offer better power, improved fuel economy, and stronger long-term reliability. Sometimes the smartest purchase isn't the cheapest truck. It's the one that's least likely to surprise you 6 months later. That idea becomes even more important when we reach the next truck on today's list. Because while it introduced one of the biggest improvements in F-150 history, it also introduced a completely new set of challenges. 2015 Ford F-150. Today, almost nobody questions the benefits of that decision. However, the 2015 model year was still the first year of a major redesign. Because that's the model year that still divides owners and mechanics even today. If the early Triton engines taught Ford one lesson, it was that truck buyers never forget reliability problems. So when the company introduced its new 10-speed automatic transmission, expectations were incredibly high. On paper, it looked like a major step forward. More gears meant quicker acceleration, improved towing performance, better fuel economy, and lower engine speeds while cruising on the highway. It sounded like a win in every category, and for many owners, it was. But for others, it became one of the most controversial components ever installed in a modern F-150. 2018 to 2020 Ford F-150. If you're shopping for a used F-150 today, these are probably the model years you'll research more than any others. Not because they're bad trucks overall, but because they're associated with two of the most talked about issues in recent Ford history. The first is the 10R80 10-speed automatic transmission. Soon after these trucks hit the road, some owners began reporting harsh shifting, delayed engagement, unexpected downshifts, gear hunting, and rough behavior at lower speeds. While many trucks never experienced these problems, the number of complaints led Ford to release multiple software updates, technical service bulletins, and revised calibration strategies. The transmission has improved over time, but it remains one of the most frequently discussed components on these model years. The important thing to understand is that not every 10-speed transmission is defective. In fact, many owners have driven well beyond 150,000 miles without ever needing a major repair. That's exactly why blanket statements like, "Never buy a 2019 F-150" simply aren't accurate. Instead, the smarter approach is to judge each truck individually. More specifically, cam phasers. If you've researched used F-150s for more than 5 minutes, you've almost certainly seen someone mention the infamous cold start rattle. That's usually the first warning sign. Earlier cam phaser designs could wear prematurely, creating noise during startup and eventually requiring expensive repairs if ignored. Ford responded by updating components over the years, and many affected trucks were repaired under warranty using revised parts. Because of those improvements, a truck that has already received the updated components may actually be a safer purchase than one that's still waiting for the repair. Many truck enthusiasts consider these 2 years some of the best values on the used market. Moving into newer trucks, 2021 through 2023 models have also built encouraging reputations. Ford continued refining the 10-speed transmission with updated software and hardware improvements, while introducing new technology like the Power Boost Hybrid and Pro Power Onboard. No modern truck is completely problem-free, but these later models generally benefit from years of engineering improvements that earlier trucks didn't have. And if possible, spend a few $100s on a professional pre-purchase inspection. It may feel expensive today, but it could save you thousands tomorrow. That's money well spent. So, which F-150 years should you never buy? Here's the honest answer. No Ford F-150 should be rejected based on the model year alone. Yes, certain years deserve far more caution than others. The 2004 through 2008 trucks equipped with the 5.4-liter 3-valve Triton require careful inspection because of well-documented timing system and spark plug issues. The 2010 model still carries many of those concerns. The 2015 truck, while revolutionary, deserves extra attention simply because it was the first year of a major redesign. And 2018 through 2020 trucks should always be evaluated carefully because of the well-known transmission discussions and cam phaser concerns. But none of those automatically become bad purchases. What matters far more is how the truck has been maintained. A well-cared-for 2018 can easily outlast a neglected 2022. A properly repaired 2007 may prove more dependable than a newer truck that's never been serviced correctly. That's why experienced buyers spend less time looking at model years and more time looking at maintenance history, because reliability isn't determined by a calendar. It's determined by how the truck has been treated. At the end of the day, the Ford F-150 remains America's best-selling truck for a reason. Millions of owners depend on these trucks every single day for work, towing, family road trips, and everything in between. Ford has certainly made mistakes over the years, but it's also continued to improve its trucks with every generation. The key isn't avoiding every F-150 that has ever had a reported problem. The key is knowing which issues to look for before you buy. Do that, and you'll dramatically improve your chances of owning a truck that serves you faithfully for years to come. Now we want to hear from you. If you've owned a Ford F-150, which model year did you have? And would you buy it again, or tell others to stay away? Share your experience in the comments below, because your story might help someone choose the right truck.